Good afternoon, assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to another CLUB100 video. This time we are at Little Rissington, and as this is a brand new circuit, I thought I'd show the start of practice, which was us just leaving the pit lane and jumping straight out onto track, so a chance for you guys to see what the track's like. And for a lot of these drivers, it was their first time on the circuit. I was lucky enough to race in the endurance session a little bit earlier on, so I kind of already knew the track, which is why it was really fun starting from pretty much the back of the pack and just trying to carve my way through it in practice, rather than trying to find a bit of clean air, as that's Fraser Brunton, who completely loses his rear end. He was off in Thailand and Vietnam for a few months, so hadn't been in a go-kart, so poor guy's forgotten how a brake pedal works, but we overtake him, not too bothered about that. And then we're going to go up the inside of this guy into the left-hander. So this circuit was actually really fun, and as I mentioned before, I was racing in the Enduro earlier on, and we were, I think, second or third quickest of the day, really. So I really like this circuit. It's quite fast, it's very flowing. There are a lot of overtaking opportunities, but it took me a very long time to figure out those overtaking opportunities. So the only real overtaking opportunity that I knew of was going into this corner here, the tight hairpin. And I outbrake myself a tiny bit, and you can overtake people on the exit of the corner, as I pretty much break my headphones. So I'm going to plug them in for a second. I'm going to get a little bit quiet. I got so excited moving my hands about, I pulled the cord out of my PC. But anyway, it's not a long track, it's very fast, there's a couple of braking zones, but most of it is near flat, like this corner. It's a tiny bit on the brakes, and then again dab on the brakes and carry loads of speed through the left-hander. And don't forget as well, qualifying is one of those opportunities where you can test your car. You can't change your car before race 1, you can't change your car before race 2, but you can potentially change your car in qualifying. And when I went through this set of corners, I saw the two karts in front of me get a better exit. So, I mean, you can see those two karts just pulling away from me. So I thought, you know what, their karts are better than mine. There's probably something wrong with my kart. Yes, I'm catching them up over a whole lap, but that's just because I'm a really good racing driver, right? So I changed my car, went back out onto circuit, and I found myself a bit of clean air, let Dan Seeger past, and I thought, yeah, Dan's an alright driver, I'll chase him for a lap, and this will be my qualifying lap. And lo and behold, it was my fastest lap of qualifying, and a pretty good lap as well. So through turn 2, just riding the brakes a little bit, on the power, kart back over to the right, dab on the brakes, and then on the power as early as you can. You can miss the apex, you want to get it, but if you miss it, it's not too bad. And then into this right-hander, again, you can just hear the tyre squealing as you carry so much speed. I did drop a tiny bit of time there, really late on the brakes down into this corner, get the apex, carry as much speed as you can. You don't need to get a wide entry into that right at the end, because it opens up so much. Then completely flat through here, you can see us catching up to Dan because, well, he's got a bit of a bad kart. Try to get as much slipstream as possible, jump onto the brakes, and then back on the power as early as you can to get a nice exit, and then use that slipstream to get right up to the back of him. And that was our fastest lap, which, as you can see, was good enough for P2. And I will 100% take that. I know Dave had a very good car, he did very well to put it on pole, but I was delighted with that because I was nearly a 10th clear of Jack O'Neill, I was 2/10 clear of Fraser Brunton, 3/10 clear of Andrew Graham. I was delighted. But as you can see, I'm starting in 6th place. Why am I starting in 6th? Because I got a penalty. Apparently the kart that I swapped out that I thought was bad wasn't bad, and there's a 4th-place penalty for that. And because I was so annoyed, I decided there was only one thing to do, which was rear-end Fraser Brunton, who rear-ends Jack O'Neill, who sends Jack O'Neill going wobbly. And then Fraser's then like, oh, it wasn't me, it was the idiot behind me. So now I'm just upset and not in the right headspace going into this race. But anyway, we're starting from 6th. I'm on the outside. I was quite worried about starting on the outside because, well, the first 2 corners are right-handed. So if you're on the outside, I kind of thought I'd get screwed. But here we go then. The guy, though, in third place does not get going at all, which means we'll just gain 2 positions for free. So thank you very much. And now I'm in 4th, which, considering I started in 6th, I thought I'd be 7th out of the first corner. This was a win, and now I'm thinking, right, qualifying went really, really well. Right, I had insane pace in qualifying, I had insane pace in the Enduro, so I was thinking, I'm going to win this. Because I got the perfect start. This is our race to win or lose. But then Miles goes crazy up the inside of both of us. I have to avoid him. He does tag Fraser. But this was really bad because now, as you can see up at the front, Jack O'Neill has overtaken Dave Cottrell. And Fraser and I are just too far back. So it was quite a frustrating incident on the opening lap because it's meant that we aren't able to follow Jack through. And to be honest, after this point, Jack just pulled off. And my only goal was, right, stick with Fraser. But you can just see Fraser's pulling from me because he's a better, I mean, he's got a better kart than me, right? I'll let you guys figure it out yourself, really. But kind of watching this back, and at the time, this corner I was getting wrong a lot. I don't know what I was getting wrong with it, but I think I was getting a little bit wrong. My kart just did not have the drive, the mid-low end drive, and I was really struggling to keep up with the drivers in front as a result, which is why I think this is probably one of the best races I've had, because considering the equipment I had, so this car is the stickers car. I'm calling it stickers from now on because it's got stickers on it, right? But it's not like the CLUB100 stickers at the back. It's like this weird blue and I don't know what their stickers are for, but there are stickers on it, so I'm calling it stickers. Stickers was having a bad day as a go-kart over the course of things, but you can see, look at that, look at how much we catch up to Fraser Brunt. I mean, you know what, because he's been gone for 3 months, he's had a name change, right? He doesn't know about this name change, but I've changed his name for him. He is now no longer Fraser Brunton, he's Brazer Frunton, because he's in front of me. Anyway, more terrible jokes to come. Subscribe, and I don't know what I'm doing with half of these videos, I'm going to be honest. But either way, we've caught up to Dave Cottrell. Would you have a look at that? And I'm just tagging along with Brazer because it's about all I can do. And I'm just thinking, if I can stay in the slipstream, I can tag along with him because I'm way faster than him through the corners. Okay, I'm not that much faster. I'm a tiny bit faster. Through this left-hander in particular, I don't know why, I was absolutely nailing it. Even when I missed the apex, I seemed to carry loads of speed. But then this right-hander, I could not take to save my life. And I don't know if it was my driving or the car, because look at how much his car pulls. That is BS. So anyway, we're now in a fight with Dave Cottrell, and I'm thinking, right, how do I get involved in this party? And I need to follow Fraser through. Sorry, Brazer. Sorry, I just forget names and all of that. I'm just trying to think, how can I follow Frunton through, right? And he's going to go up the inside, and they're going to have a little argy-bargy. Fraser thinks that you can use a curb there, you can't, and I'm like, thank you for that very much, son. I'm going to follow you through and stick to your rear end and try to push you along. And you can see just how far Jack O'Neill has gone in the distance. Like, he's absolutely out there. And at this point I realised, right, we're not winning the race. That's gone, right? Jack's just on a different planet today. We leave him. But can I beat Brazer for second place? And I was thinking at the time, yes, because I seem to have a fair bit of pace. And on lap 9, I've still stuck with him. I'm still in that kind of slipstream range. And then Mr. Reitman decides to send it up my inside, which he's perfectly entitled to do. But I was very upset because Brazer's gone now, right? He's gone, and I don't have my slipstream. And Mars was much quicker than the pair of us. And I was thinking, right, Mars is just going to catch up to Fraser, and I'm not going to be able to stick with him. Whereas I felt like the pace difference between me and Fraser was close enough that I could just stick with him for the race. And now I'm just thinking, right, that's over. You know, those 8 laps of hard work have gone down the drain just because I couldn't find the right corner to let Miles through. So it is what it is. They're fast forwarding a little bit long. We're now on lap 13 of the race. You can see Miles going up the inside of Fraser, and I was just kind of hoping, right, if these two numpties battle, right, I can get back into it. So I'm like, right, battle, battle, battle. I was like their cheerleaders right now. I was like, go on, give us a good battle. But they're really boring, right? They don't like racing. They go to a race and they're like, oh, after you go first and all of that. So boring drivers over there, yeah? See, Milky Cereal doesn't do any of that boring racing, right? None of that procession stuff. We just overtake when we can. So Mars has got through on Brazer Fronton, and I'm thinking, okay, we've kind of closed it, but the issue now is Mars is going to give the tow to Mr. White Helmet. And there, now Brazer's going up the inside of Mars, and I'm like, right, they're battling again. It's my time to get involved. And they're still going side by side. They finally realize it's a race, and they should battle and allow me to catch up to them. So, very good of them to understand how racing works. And now I'm catching up, and I'm thinking, right, I'm back in the, I'm in the party. The issue is, I was able to stick with Fraser before. But Fraser goes for a silly move again. He's forgotten how racing works while he was in Thailand. So I'm gonna go around the outside of him, right? I don't have enough time for his nonsense. He tries to go around the outside, but again, it don't work, buddy. So he's no longer Brazer Fronton because he's not in front of us. He's now just Fraser Brunton again, which is very boring. But I am back up to third, and at this point I was thinking, right, what am I gonna do? And then that's not Fraser, that's Andrew Graham who's gone past me. So Andrew's got both Fraser and me. We've got three. I didn't even realize we're on lap 34 of the race. So we've skipped forward, and here we go. I've now lost a position to my championship rival, and Fraser is very nice to poke his nose up my inside into that corner, and now I'm compromised into this corner, right? And those two are now pulling away, and I'm thinking, oh, for God's sake. But then I realized, right, if Fraser gets past me, he can hunt down Andrew Graham. So I allow him to overtake me, but he's really slow going. Okay, in all honesty, right, I was thinking battle because I wanted the position. But at the same time, it's good that Fraser's got past me because Fraser's quicker than me. At this point damn it, I said it. So he's quicker than me. He can catch up to those two. I don't have the pace because I've got a bad kart, right? I always get a bad kart. We know this, right? It's just what happens to Milky Cereal. I've got a bad kart, so I can't actually overtake those two. But if they battle, then I can overtake them. So the drivers in front of me are essentially my ammunition. So I needed Fraser to battle with Andrew Graham so I could potentially get past them. This is the mega calculations that was going on in the final laps of this race. And we got a 4-way battle for second place as well. So let's get in there. What's going to happen into this hairpin? No one knows what they're doing. We've got just over a lap left. I'm trying to push Fraser along. I'm like, come on, buddy. Do something. Hurry up. I'm like poking him with the stick. You know that meme where you poke? I'll put it up on the screen. And then he does something. He goes up the inside. Cheers. Thank you for that, Fraser. Now we're going to try to go around the outside of Fraser, but we decide against it because that's silly. We got past Andrew. That's the main thing. Andrew Graham is our championship rival. He's the guy who's in third in the championship. We're second in the championship. As long as I beat Andrew, that is good. So this is good. I take a slightly defensive line into this left-hander. Part of me is thinking, right, I really want to battle Fraser for third place. But I also know beat Andrew. That is the important thing, right? And I think I had my head screwed on in the championship game for this. I realized, like, don't know what Fraser's doing. I think he's actively trying to ruin my race, you know, trying to go sideways in front of me so Andrew can have a go. But we keep our cool, and I wish I could overtake him, but I can't. So I take a slightly defensive line into this left-hander. I get a decent run, and going into the final corner, Andrew pokes his nose up my inside. We make contact, but thankfully, I still cross the line in front. So I take what I would like to say a very, very well-deserved fourth place. I'm really actually quite proud of the fact that I was able to stick with the battle for second, despite the car I was in. But now heading into the next race of the day, we're in fourth, and as you can see, Mr. Miles Reitman in front of me, he has Stickers car. So I knew straight away Miles is going to go backwards because he's in Stickers, right? And Stickers is not a good car. If you don't believe me, just look what happens to Miles. So I'm ready. I know, right, okay, I'm starting 4th, come out of the first corner in 4th or 5th. I'll get past Miles soon enough, because, you know, and off we go. And watch Jack O'Neill's left foot here. He does a little cheeky dab on the brakes to let Miles through. So now I know, okay, Miles has jumped the start. I'm going to get past him anyway. I slot in behind Brazer Fronton, because, again, he's in front of me now. And we're in 4th. So I'm like, perfect. It's exactly the same as the previous races, just a different driver leading. Head down, see what I can do. And then as I come out of this corner, they all pull away from me again. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, again, we're in the same situation where I think the kart that I had was a little bit sketchy. Again, you can judge for yourselves just on how much I lose coming out of corners. And up the inside of Jack O'Neill goes Mr. Brunton. Is he going to pull it off? No, he's not. He's going to sit behind it. He's going to be a patient bunny this time round, and we're just going to sit behind. We're going to give him a little bit of a push in the slipstream, and then he pulls a half a kart length, despite the fact that we were on his bumper. But I'm not going to talk about that anymore until the end of the race, right? Because I'm good. I'm a changed person in these videos, right? So we're going to sit behind. Jack O'Neill's going to go up the inside of Miles Reitman. Brazer's going to follow through, and now I'm thinking, right, that's not fair. I wanted to go past as well, mum. So we're going to sit behind. We're going to see what happens. We're going to give Miles a little push. He's on the outside, and we're going to go for the old switcheroonies. We get a good drive on Sticker's kart, and now we're up the inside. And I'm thinking, great, we're up into 3rd place. This is where I wanted to be at the end of, well, I mean, I would have liked to be leading, but I'll take this. This is good. Let's see what we can do. And I know that I need to do the same thing that I did in the first race, which is just stick with the 2 in front. Don't battle with them, because I'm not able to do that with the machinery I've got. I've got to just stick with them, because I'll never be able to pull away from them. So stick behind them, work with them, don't let Andrew Graham catch up, and then we can see what can happen in the last 5 or so minutes of the race. I tap the inside curb there, which kind of unsettles the kart a little bit and drops me a few kart lengths back along the straight. So that time it was my fault. But yeah, all I can do at this point is just try to sit behind, really. Not do anything too crazy. Just try to stay in the tow and put in the consistent laps. Don't try to overdrive the kart, searching for time that isn't there. And I think that's one of the things that really differentiated this race at Rissington to loads of other races I've done in the past, where when I've been struggling for pace, I've tried to push to find that extra pace. Whereas at Rissington, I think I had just the utmost confidence in myself that what I was doing was correct, and therefore if I tried to drive any differently, I would just lose time. So I just kept doing what I was doing, like making slight tweaks here and there, you know, just altering my braking points and so on and so forth, but overall keeping it the same. And on lap 7, Fraser goes up the inside of Jack O'Neill and takes the lead of the race. Annoyingly, he does it in a way that doesn't really compromise Jack. Jack very smartly just lifts off, allows Fraser through so they don't battle, and that means that I can't catch up. So 8 laps into the race, a quarter of the way through, give or take, we've fallen back by about a second or so, but we're still within striking distance if they were to battle, and that's all that I can do right now. I have to just try to stick with them, but I know that Fraser's a little bit quicker in this race than Jack is, so I'm also a bit worried that Jack will now be able to sit on the back of Fraser and follow him along. So I was a little bit worried about that. And skipping forward to lap 16 of the race, what happens here? So those two are still nose to tail. We've dropped back by another half a second. Andrew Graham had been pushing me along, but now Andrew decides this is his moment to go for the overtake, and I thought, fair enough, let's see what I can do now behind Andrew. Can I stick with him? Can I follow him along? Can I maybe even give him a little push to try to catch up to the top 2? And again, that's all that I could do. The gap to 5th was absolutely humongous, so I didn't have to worry about, you know, losing any more places. My main concern was essentially beating Andrew. Yes, I'd like to win the race, but probably more important than that is being able to beat Andrew and getting a few more points than him in the championship, extending my championship advantage, and then I outbrake myself, which is probably the first real mistake I made in this race, maybe on this day. And yeah, it was just a silly mistake. It's cost me a kart length or so, and now I'm thinking, right, what can I do? But skipping forward to lap 28 of the race, you can see Andrew Graham and Jack O'Neill are up ahead, and they've really pulled from me. But they caught up to 2 back markers, and this back marker went up so the back marker's behind Jack O'Neill, and now he goes to the inside and he overtakes Jack O'Neill despite being a lap down. He's if you're watching, no offense, but you're an absolute idiot, and then goes round the outside of Jack, or continues to defend through the left-hander, which is just pointless. You're being lapped by one of the leaders, and this guy's continuing to battle. He's absolutely saved my race, don't get me wrong, like, I owe him a donut or something, but this is just absolutely outrageous. He's still in front of Jack, battling tooth and nail for this position. They're going side by side through this right hand, and finally Andrew and Jack get through. And now I'm thinking, oh god, I'm gonna have to try to get through as well. We'll see what I can do to get involved in that. And Jack's now battling from Andrew. Andrew gets a good run, goes up the inside of Mr. O'Neill, and I'm gonna slide up the inside of the double right-hander. Now, Andrew overtaking Jack, you might think that's really bad for me because now Andrew's going to get more points over me in the championship. But I knew this was really good because as I find a way through Mr. Defensive blocking back marker, if Jack was in front of Andrew, Andrew would just sit behind Jack and I would never be able to catch up. But because Andrew overtook Jack, Jack is now going to battle with Andrew for second. At least that's what was going through my head. So I now thought I have a very real chance of catching because these two are going to battle in the next lap or so. I also didn't know how many laps. None of us knew how many laps were left in the race because the timer had broken. So we were a little bit blind in terms of knowing when we should start battling. We just had to give a guess as to how much longer was left in the race. All that we'd see would be the last lap board, but again, we'd only see that on lap 36. So for all I knew, we could have been on lap 34 right now. We could have been on lap 19. So I could have maybe counted the laps, but I was too busy focused on the race, and I can barely count to save my life, so why would I do that? Jack almost has to go up the inside of Andrew Graham, and again, I'm just sitting behind, just biding my time, just waiting, just putting in the laps, knowing these two are going to battle. At some point, they're going to start fighting, and that's going to give me an opportunity. And if I make any mistakes now trying to hunt them down, like I did there, just going that tiny bit wide, I'm going to kick myself. So I knew just keep on putting in my laps, keep on doing my own thing, and the race will come to me. That's what I told myself, that's what I had kind of belief in. And now they've caught up to 2 more back markers, and I'm thinking, right, come on, don't make this too easy for them. Just let me catch up that extra half a second. And they've caught up to the back markers in the worst place through turns 1 to 3, where it is very difficult to overtake. They have to sit behind, and look at that. We are back in the game. What are they going to do? Jack O'Neill's going to go up the inside into turn 4. They're side by side. I come out of the corner, and, well, I can't really have a go. I'm going to look to the outside of Jack. I'm not going to be able to hang around the outside. Orange suit as a moment. I then go for the switchback, but I end up compromising myself so much to get the switchback that I lose time on corner exit, and all of that time that I initially gained has now gone down the drain by a little bit, as that guy really kills the cones, and, well, I'm just trying to follow through. So I'm stuck behind him. I'm going to give him a little push along, and I'm thinking, can I go up the inside into the left-hander? He's looking behind me. I'm going to brake nice and early, and as people tend to do, they then outbrake themselves, and I go up the inside. We now have 3.5 laps left, and I'm about a second behind this duo for second place. Brazer Fronton's absolutely, gone off at this point. So all I can do, again, just put in the laps, and I'm just going to show this the footage all the way to the end of the race, because I think these last few laps were actually quite exciting. There was a lot of battling that happened because, as I mentioned, Jack is going to battle with Andrew, and I kind of knew that in my head. Jack's not the kind of driver who'll just sit behind and take third place, so I knew I just had to be patient. I just had to wait, It wouldn't be something on the last lap, it'd probably happen a couple of laps before. And on lap 34, with 3 laps to go, he sends it up the inside of Mr. Andrew Graham, and that has allowed me to close in. And you can tell that Andrew's a tiny bit worried. He has a little look over his shoulder. He sees me, and he knows he needs to finish in front of me. That is important for the championship. They're going nearly side by side into this corner. I have a moment trying not to go into the back of Andrew, and that cost me a lot of time, and I'm thinking that's so stupid. I can't make a mistake like that, right? I have to sit behind, and while I didn't necessarily make a mistake, I shouldn't have played that close to the edge, where if Andrew had made a mistake like he did there, I then go into the back of him. So 2 laps to go. Again, I didn't know that there were 2 laps remaining, but I'm right on the back of these two, and I'm thinking, right, I will get an opportunity. Andrew's going to go for a switchback or something. The door's going to open, and I can send him. Again, I can see that he's taking that tighter line. I'm just going to try to get as good of an exit as I can to counteract how bad I think my kart is, but I'm just struggling to get the drive out of that right-hander. I don't even think it's the kart. I get a really good run through this right-hander, but coming through the right, I think I make a bit of contact with Andrew. Similar mistake to last lap, and I'm thinking, right, I've just thrown that away. I should be right on the back of Andrew here. So heads down, no more mistakes. I cannot mess this up, because I know as things stand, Andrew's going to get 3rd overall for the day, and I'm going to be in 4th. I need to beat him. The final lap board is out, and now I know this is it. This is my last chance. I cannot put a foot wrong on this lap. We get a really nice run through the right into the left. We nail the apex. I get a decent drive. I know Andrew's going to go to the left, so I'm going to send it up the inside. We make a tiny, tiny bit of contact, but he gets a better run out of the corner, a much better run. I can't send it up the inside, so I'm going to go take a really late apex and then get a late apex through the right-hander. It's a good enough drive that I'm able to slide up the inside. Andrew now has to leave me room into the double right-hander, and on the last lap of the race, we have found a way once again to get past Andrew Graham. I take a tight line into this left-hander, and now I'm going to hold my car all the way to the right. I'm not going to make the same mistake as I did in the last race, but he still tries to go up on the grass, but he can't make it work, and we take 3rd place in race number 2. So a 4th and a 3rd gives us 3rd overall for the day, and critically we extend our championship advantage in 2nd in the standings. Unfortunately, Jack O'Neill has pulled away from us once again, but all things said and done, I'm really happy with it. I think, genuinely, I think that's one of the best ever races, or set of races I've done, because it reminded me, okay, this is going to sound really obnoxious. This was like the Fernando Alonso 2012, you know, in the really bad Ferrari, somehow getting a 2nd place, that kind of drive. Because, no disrespect to anyone, genuinely, I have enough confidence in myself at this circuit that I think if I had a good car, I think I would have taken a double win today. Today, on this weekend, because I feel like my pace was absolutely ridiculous. And even kind of watching it back, just looking at my karting places, it is what it is. I'm not upset about it. It happens, right? Sometimes you get a good kart, sometimes you get a bad kart, sometimes you get a middle kart. So, yeah, that's been Rissington. Thank you for watching. See you next time.